when I went broke, I went and talked to old rich people, and they all told me the same thing: live on less than you make, get on a budget, stay out of debt. And I wasn't doing any of that. That's why I went broke. I was deeply in debt, didn't have a plan. I thought I could out-earn my stupidity.
How did you get that hope, though?
After that, I was hopeless. So I was, I was at the bottom. I was bankrupt. Everything was gone, and so, man, I got hungry kids and a wife that wants to leave, but she doesn't have a car. And, so I'm like, I got to, the stuff I was told apparently didn't work because I did it perfectly. I mean, I believed the leverage thing and went all in, baby. And, it hit me in the back of the head. And it wasn't because I was dumb. I was anything but dumb. I was really good at it.
How did you keep your marriage together during that time?
The truth is, probably too much information. But anyway, we used to laugh and say we held on to each other just to get a better grip. It's like we fought a lot. It was really brutal. But because she was really scared. She was terrified. And my self-esteem was destroyed because I got my confidence out of my success. And when my success was gone, I wasn't there anymore. I was just a shell. I was an arrogant little jerk. And so I had to rebuild. We were not just broke, we were broken. And so that's why I can still hear it when people call I can hear it in their voice. Mm-hmm. Even all these years later, it still hits me and my stomach gets up in my throat. But we had 2 little babies and there really weren't any good options. I mean, leaving wasn't going to fix it, although we fought like crazy. But so we just said, do the next thing. Get up and go to work. Get some money, pay the light bill, get the lights turned back on. Get up, go to work, get the water turned back on. Get up, go to work, and change the diaper, and feed the kid, and take the kid to school, and put some gas in the car. And we really were just almost zombified, literally living day to day emotionally. And we did that until we started making money again, and I got back into 6 figures, which in those days was substantial money. And we went about 3 years. And then everything we weren't rich, but I mean, we were not desperate anymore, broke. We were paying our bills and we had money and we could go to the grocery store and not freak out. We had a budget and we were out of debt and all this stuff, or almost out of debt. And once all that happened, then all of those stored up feelings that we had stuffed down just to get the day-to-day done rose up. And that's when we almost divorced, was 3 years later. Really? Because we'd stuffed it down. And then it just blew up. It boiled and blew up. And we ended up sitting with the marriage counselor for like 3 years after that. And that lady to this day is one of our best friends. Yeah. She saved our lives. She saved our marriage.
I'm curious, how does your wife get over not blaming you for that situation and maybe not holding on to any resentment? And how did you get back your self-esteem? Do you think that was just because you started making more money and then that came back? Or do you think you worked on something differently within yourself?
Part of it was a spiritual walk. A psychological, emotional walk, and that I realized I put my faith in the wrong things. If you put your faith in stuff or in your net worth, then it's always going to let you down. That's a hollow thing. It's a good thing to go do those things, but putting your faith in that and or drawing your self-esteem from that, it's gone. And what determines whether I like me, what determines whether I'm a good person or not, is not based on my net worth or based on my cash flow or based on any of those things. Those can be results of being a good person and doing the right disciplined things that we were talking about earlier. But they're results. They're not causal. And so just becoming a person of character. I want to become a good dad. I want to become a good husband. I want to become opening a business, a good leader. I want to learn how to. I want to be somebody that when I look back and I'm 80 years old, I'm going to look back and go, that was a pretty good ride, not look back and go, man, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I hadn't done that. There's a lot of stuff I've done that's dumb, but I don't want to do things of character problems that regret. So changing that. And then with her, her terror came from her, bless her heart, she thought she had married Sir Galahad, and it turns out it was Goober. It was like the guy that she counted on let her down. And so she had to also say, I can't place my faith in him. And then over time, how did she have confidence in me? Well, it's track record. It's like if somebody was an alcoholic, and I've got a good friend who's an alcoholic. He got his 20-year coin the other day. Hadn't touched alcohol in 20 years. And his wife really trusts him now. But 20 days after he went to AA, she didn't trust him yet. But he's got a good, he's been he's not been an alcoholic for a long, long time. Well, he would say he's still an alcoholic, but you know what I'm saying. He's not drinking for a long, long time. And so the further we get from this and the more wealth we get, the more she realizes I'm not the same person that made those bad decisions. I'm not this crazy risk-taking fool that believes that, that the rules don't apply to me in terms of the principle of debt-free, that kind of stuff. So the fact that we've lived these principles, and we still do at the Ramsey, and one of those principles is I don't do things, we said in the old days we don't buy anything over $300 without talking about it. Today we would say we don't do things of size without talking about them. We don't give large charitable gifts without us agreeing that that's a good thing to give that to, a good person to help a good situation that we want to put money into. I don't just say, hey, honey, look what I did. Yeah. I don't go buy a boat. I don't go buy a car. To this day, I still don't. Yeah. I call her and go, hey, this is what I'm looking at. I'm thinking about this. I just found this. I think I might get it. Is it okay with you? Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm curious, do you guys have any financial disagreements today? Or is mostly anything, almost everything's good at this point? Like if you say, I want to buy this boat, would she ever say, no, I don't like that boat. It's too big, too much money? I
don't know if a disagreement is like, no, you should not do that. Yes, I want to do that is a type of disagreement. But what we do is she says, I think I want to go to, she just did a trip with a bunch of girls, went to a dude ranch, a bunch of her friends, all right? She said, I think I want to do that. I said, okay, how are you doing that? Okay, I'm doing this and this and this. And I said, I think you ought to do it, but you probably ought to do it this way. The travel arrangements and the other stuff. And she went, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, okay. So if that's a disagreement, then, we take each other's input. And so, but even on little stuff, we do that. And so that's just communication and a relationship is what it amounts to. But I did all kinds of stuff that Sharon didn't even know I did. Not because I was hiding it from her. I just didn't need her permission before. And I mean, we've owned real estate. To this day, we'll go out to eat somewhere, and I'll go, hey, 40 years ago, we owned that house right there. For about 2 days, I flipped it. And she's like, you're kidding. I'm like, no. She goes, a friend of mine lived in that house. And I went, like 10 years after I flipped it, right? But she's like, I bought houses the woman had never seen. That's weird if you think about it. But nowadays, we would never do that. We get ready to buy a commercial property or something. We'll get in the car and we'll go drive on Sunday afternoon. I'll go, Winston and I are looking at doing this deal over here, and here's the numbers on it. And she goes, yeah, okay. But most of the time, that's what it sounds like. But very, very few times. But again, we've got 30 years of doing it right and doing it with lots of communication and lots of agreement. We're building our third house together, and that one will test you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because you argue about stuff all the time. I mean, we were picking out cabinet hardware, for God's sakes, last night, and I'm like, I don't like that. She goes, my kitchen. I went, good point. Get it if you want it.
So she gets the kitchen. What do you get? I'm guessing the garage, the basement.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff I get. Believe me, I get plenty. But it's and I'm like, I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. And it's like, I'm not a decorator. Screw it. Whatever.